Hi, good morning, students. Yes, few members are already there. Good morning, Tejashwini. Good morning, Navya, Ramya, Lakshmi. Okay, so what's happening? Strong immunity, all of you. You're all having strong immunity. And stay home to keep it up. Okay, don't roam around showing that you are superhuman beings. Okay, fine then. So let's now begin with the subject. Yesterday I gave you the functioning of B lymphocytes and T lymphocytes. Do you remember what we did last class? Okay, so we did about how B lymphocytes, they provide what kind of immunity? I told you already, B lymphocytes provide certain type of immunity. What do we call that immunity? B lymphocytes. Come on, those who are there already, we can keep answering. When 5 minutes or 7 minutes have come early, you can answer. What is the B lymphocyte type of immunity it is providing? Good morning. Answer to my questions. Those who were there from initial time. What type of immunity you find it by B lymphocytes? When they recognize the pathogen. Antibody mediated immunity. Good. Antibody mediated immunity. What do we call it? AMIS. Antibody mediated immune system. Isn't it? Now we are going to continue with the next one. AMIS, correct? It is also called as humoral immunity. Why the name humoral comes from? The name humoral immunity comes from. Why you get the word humoral immunity? What do you mean by humoral immunity? Correct, Sweta? Yeah, it is a fluid-based immunity because antibodies are released in the fluid, body fluids, and then they function. Therefore, it is called as the humoral immunity. Sanjay, good. Good, Sanjay. You have been very intelligent and you're improving nowadays and very sincere. You have become very good. And all other girls normally will be very sincere. I know it. Okay. So let's now continue with the second type of. So what I told you, whenever the antigen or foreign antigen is seen. Okay. Good morning, Prakriti. So whenever the foreign antigen enters the bloodstream, what happens is the B lymphocytes will recognize that, but first they will bind to it, and then they produce two types of cells. What are the two types of cells it is producing? When it comes in contact with the foreign antigen, it will produce, B lymphocytes produce two types of cells. What are the two types of cells? Memory and plasma cells. Very good. Plasma cells and B memory cells. Very good. So these plasma cells will take some time to produce antibody. They will work like a factories for antibody production. Then large number of antibodies are produced in the plasma. Right? These antibodies engulf the pathogen and they are going to destroy the pathogen. Okay, you know that very well. Then B lymphocytes tackle the secondary infections. Primary infections normally it takes time till the plasma cells are produced, till the plasma cells get activated, they produce antibodies. It takes a lot of time. But once B memory cells are ready, they have already recognized once what is the type of antigen. Then production of antibodies will not take much time. Once it has been done, then remaining time it will be very fast doing the production of antibodies. Good morning, Nisarga. Okay. Good morning, Shweta. Good morning, Navya. Okay, all of you. Okay. So we discussed about the antibody production by the B lymphocytes. Then apart from that, I explained you yesterday about the type of T lymphocyte functioning also. Let me give you a small details of that. Then we'll go ahead with the functioning of T lymphocytes. It provides cell-mediated immunity. Okay, let's start. Okay. So coming to the T lymphocytes, action of T lymphocytes. I'm sorry. T lymphocytes provide cell-mediated immunity. Right? So imagine this is the pathogen. Pathogen comes in contact with T lymphocytes. This is a pathogen or antigen. Antigen. It comes in contact with the T lymphocyte. T lymphocytes. Okay, this is a T lymphocyte. When they come in contact with this, then T lymphocyte produce 4 types of cells. First one is called the helper T cells, HT cells. Second one is called as the killer T cells, KT cells. Third one is suppressor T cells, ST cells. Last one is memory T cells. So these are the 4 types of cells produced. This we already discussed. What did I tell you about helper T cells? They are going to help the B lymphocytes to produce antibodies. Then killer T cells attack the virus infected cell and they were going to directly kill them by attracting each other, and they produce some perforations. Suppose here is a virus infected cell. Imagine this is a virus infected. This is our body cell. It is infected with the virus. Imagine there are viruses. Okay, number of viruses are there. Then the KT cells, killer T cells will come nearby this. They will surround this, and they produce something called as the perforins. Perforins are the chemicals that perforins, when they enter into it, they will break this open, and the perforins produce perforations in this, and they are going to kill our cell as well as the virus. So this is how killer T cells directly kill the cells. They are like a warriors. They directly go attack, right? They will not produce any antibodies. If this is the one, this will go directly attack. This is what we call it as a killer T cells functioning, right? Then suppressor T cells are going to stop the production of antibodies once the infection gets over. Then last one, memory T cells, they are going to remember the infectious pathogen for a long time. And during secondary infection, it will attack. It will counteract during the second infections, right? Fine then. Let's write about this, which we did it in the last class. I just summarized it once. Okay, so when you have entered, Likita has entered. Okay, write down. Keeping that in mind, you have written also yesterday what are these. Write down. Cell-mediated immunity, SMIS. Are you writing? Cell-mediated immunity, SMIS. Defends the body against virus and fungal infections. I think you have written this. Yeah, I'm sorry, CMIS. Correct. You have written this. Okay, fine. Next, to continue it. It also works during transplantation, you have written. Organ transplantation, you have written. What is the last sentence you have written? You just tell me. Yeah. So transplantation, you have written. Now you write the action. Action of T lymphocytes. T lymphocytes recognize a particular non-self antigen. Okay, good. Zara, good. Write it. Start writing. Action I'm giving you. Write down. T lymphocytes recognize a particular foreign antigen inside the thymus, because T cells are there in thymus, right? In thymus. In thymus. After coming in contact with the antigen, T lymphocytes produce large number of different types of T cells, by division. Large number of different types of cells by division. These cells formed by T cells, these cells formed by the T cells leave the thymus and move to the infected organ or area, and move to the infected organ or the area. Move to the infected organ or the area. T cells have the lifespan of 4 to 5 years. T cells have the lifespan of 4 to 5 years. The T cells formed now have specific functions. They may look similar to each other. But function in a committed fashion. Committed fashion. These T cells are of 4 types. Namely, helper T cells, number 1, helper T cells. Number 2, killer T cells. Number 3, suppressor T cells. You write all of this because although you have drawn it, you should know how to write points also. Helper T cells, killer T cells, suppressor T cells, and memory T cells. Right, first one, helper T cells, HT cells. Helper T cells. Is it more fast or okay? You are able to write. Okay, write down. Helper T cells, HT cells. Okay, good one. Right, next one. These cells stimulate the B lymphocytes. These cells stimulate the B lymphocytes to produce antibodies. Second one, killer T cells or KT cells. Who is this Sanvi? These killer T cells or KT cells, these cells migrate to the site of infection. migrate to the site of infection. Next one. With the help of the surface proteins, with the help of their surface proteins, with the help of the surface proteins, I repeat, with the help of the surface proteins, they are able to recognize non-self antigens. They are able to recognize non-self antigens. With the help of the surface proteins, they are able to recognize the non-self antigens. Next. When the KT cells come in contact with, when the KT cells come in contact with antigen, come in contact with antigen, come in contact with antigen, they secrete a protein called perforin. Perforins. They secrete a protein called perforin. P-R-F-O-R-I-N. Perforin. This protein punctures. This protein punctures the invader's cell membrane. Punctures the invader's cell membrane. Invader's cell membrane. Thus, the pathogen gets killed. The killer T cells later move to other pathogens and begin to work on them. Other pathogens and begin to work on them. KT cells work on the virus infected cells. KT cells work on the virus infected cells. Virus infected cells. They also kill the body cells before virus can enter into it. Before virus can enter into it. Okay. The KT cells also work against cancer cells. The KT cells also work against the cancer cells. Okay, done. Okay, did you understand what is this is doing? Suppose this is a pathogen entering. Okay, the KT cells will recognize by its polypeptide chain outside protein. They will come in contact with this. Once they come in contact with this, they will produce perforins, in which the pathogen develop number of perforations, and they get killed. Right? Normally, it is a virus infected cell. Suppose it is there, our virus also will die. Our cell also will die. And one more important thing, what it will do is such KT cell comes out of the infection and nearby all the living cells which are prone for the viral infection, you kill all of them so that the virus will not spread to other healthy cells. Right? Did you get an idea? What is that? Suppose imagine you are in a forest with the you are in a forest. If there is a forest fire happens, so you can't run away from that. Very simple. What they can do is, suppose before it enters your area, take one fire thing and one small circle, you just fire it off, and when it becomes totally black, totally convert to soot, then you get into that so that other area will catch fire and you will be safe. Same thing will happen here. It will detach the other living cells coming in contact with virus. Did you understand this? Suppose this is one virus is infecting this. This cell it kills, not only that, nearby all the cells it will kill, which may get the pathogen. Due to this, virus will not be in a position to enter, come out of that and go to next cell. So it will create nearby area, no contact with other cells. Right? Like how we isolate ourselves. No? Suppose somebody is having infection of any problem, disease, you isolate him and nobody should go nearby. That's how you can stop spreading the infection. Did you understand this? This is how actually NK cells will work, killer T cells will work. Are you following this? Yeah, good. So this is very important thing. NK killer T cells may ask you one mark, or it's all neat part. So what you do is extra things what I given, you know, that's perforins and other things. That is a neat part, right? The overall number what I given yesterday, the types of 4 types, that is a regular one. Now, whatever I'm giving extra, it is a neat portion. So in neat questions, when you are solving, you will come to know that what is the question, what to answer. Okay? Did you get it? And even you will come to know. Suppose you have got any viral infection somewhere here, nearby all area will get one whole like thing. And that will not again spread whole of the body. That's how killer T cells will function. Next, you write the third one, suppressor T cells. Suppressor T cells. These cells inhibit the immune response. These cells inhibit the immune response of both T and B lymphocytes. Of both T and B lymphocytes. You can see what this fellow is doing. Yashwant, what are you doing? Are you writing? I'm observing you. Your video was on. I could see you are simply watching your face on your video. Right? Not right. You people have to be at least sincere, because it's for yourself you are doing. Who is this Yashwant? Yashwant D. I observed just now. Right? You people also saw, right? I just showed you in wide. Right? So it's not right. You should be first thing, you should be in a position to get into the subject. Okay. Now, let's now continue. I told you that suppressor T cells, how do they work? They will stop the production of antibodies from B lymphocytes and also functioning T lymphocytes when the infection gets over. Okay, written? Okay. Next, you write it. These function only when the infection stops. These function only when the infection stops. Only when infection stops. Okay, next. It also stops our immune system. It also stops our immune system from attacking our own body cells. It also stops or inhibits our immune system attacking our own antibodies or our own cells, own antigens. Our own antigens. Okay. Next, right, memory T cells. These cells remember the type of antigen. These cells remember the type of antigen Nisarga, which line you want? You want about the suppressor T cells? ST cells you want last line? Okay, write down. I am repeating about the ST cells, suppressor T cells. These cells also stop or inhibit our immune system attacking our own antigens, our own body cells. Our own antigens, our own body cells. Good, Likita. She has written. Okay, next you write. Memory T cells, they remember the pathogen and react during secondary infections. Secondary infections, and it's called secondary immune response. Secondary infections, and it's called secondary immune response. Thus, the same pathogen cannot attack again and again. The same pathogen cannot attack again and again. Did you write? Okay, done. Now, let's now move on to the next part. That is about the immunity organs, right? How is our immune system in the body? Where and all it is located, right? Immune system, I already told you. It is provided by WBC cells, right? Types of lymphocytes, monocytes, neutrophils, so many things, right? Then where and all they are present, that we are going to learn. Immune system in human body. There are two different types of immune systems. First is primary immune organs. Second is secondary immune organs. Okay. First, primary immune organs. Okay. There were the primary lymphoid organs. First one is bone marrow. Bone marrow is the one which is producing all WBC cells, RBC cells, everything. Right. So it's the first lymphoid organ in our body. Second comes the, what is the second one? Lymph. That is the thymus. Thymus is a second main lymphoid. They both are primary lymphoid organs. One is bone marrow, second one is thymus. But thymus, when it is present near the sternum, near behind the chest, near the heart, behind the sternum. Sternum is the rib bones. Behind that, you will get a big thymus when you are born. But as you start growing, they become small, and very small it becomes when you enter your puberty. When you enter your age of around 12 to 13 years, it becomes very small. Only it will be left for the maturation of T lymphocytes. Very small it will be, right? But earlier, when you are born, kids and all babies will have big lymph organ, that is thymus. Okay, these are the two primary lymphoid organs. Then second one is secondary lymphoid organs. Means where are these lymph cells, whatever they are formed, they are matured here. No, some are matured. B lymphocytes matured in the bone marrow. T lymphocytes matured in the lymph. That is the thymus. After that, they leave the place. They get the bloodstream and they get stored. They get stored in various parts. Right? That is forming the secondary lymphoid organ. One of them is spleen. Spleen is the area where they are stored, and moreover, blood is filtered. Whenever pathogen or antigen-antibody reactions happen, it will be filtered in the spleen. Spleen is right behind the stomach area. Okay, so spleen is the area where these antigen-antibody complexes will be filtered. That's a spleen. Second comes is your appendix. Appendix is also having that connected. That is a kind of lymph tissue that is also called as a kind of lymphoid, secondary lymphoid organ. Then, apart from that, yesterday I told you about the intestine. In the intestinal wall, you get some area, patch. What do you call it? Peyer's patches. Peyer's patches also form the lymphoid structure, which is secondary lymphoid organs. Right? Then third is called MALT. That's mucoidal associated lymphoid tissue. So let us learn about this whole thing. Where are they located? Okay. Okay. So let me give you the details of the lymphoid system in humans. So I am talking about the lymphoid system that provide immunity or immune system, where it is located. Right? First one, I told you, they are the primary lymphoid organs, systems. Okay, primary lymphoid system is brought by two important things. One is bone marrow, another one is the thymus. Then secondary lymphoid system or lymphoid organs include, first one, lot of things are there. Here I told you the tonsils, Peyer's patches, TCHES, patches, then spleen, then appendix. Okay. Apart from this, one more thing is called MALT, M-A-L-T. MALT is mucoidal associated lymphoid tissue. This is found all over the organs like respiratory tract, digestive tract. Lining will be having this mucus. That is called the mucus mucoidal. Major 50% is this only. All our respiratory tract, you can see. So many times you can see whenever you are coughing and all, it will come out. Those are all infections. There only they will be stopped. Around 50% is mucoidal associated lymphoid tissue. Then among this, one more will come, that is GALT. GALT. GALT is nothing but gut associated lymphoid tissue. Okay, so these are the secondary lymphoid organs, right? You can very easily identify so nicely our body. All this is our order of immune system, how it check the infections, first one, second one, third one. So everywhere we have equipments to avoid the infections, avoid the pathogens. So if you are getting still the infections, means you have not properly maintained them, right? You will have to always maintain these. I don't know, whenever there is an infection, suppose you get some sore throat, start inhaling the steam and you help that, right? And take the lukewarm water with little pinch of salt and gargle it every 10 minutes or 15 minutes once, so that you are going to help the organs for counteracting the pathogens. So this is how the immune system is very equipped one, right? So that if you consider this is there in our body, then you will never get problems. But for all these things, like bone marrow, thymus, all they have to work only when you have good blood circulation, right? All the time we are sitting and doing nothing and eating all junk food and all, you will not get all these things functioning. Although they are there, we are not using them. Therefore, always this much equipment I have, let me utilize them. That is the condition when you will become strong in terms of immunity, pathogens, right? So write down. Now, did you understand all this? Write the heading. Lymphoid organs or the immune systems in body. Lymphoid organs or immune systems in body. Just you write it down as it is. First one full list tara barkonbidi alla. Ashtu barkonbitre ninge idea barutte ellenu ಏನು ಕಥೆ ಅಂತ. So it is the primary lymphoid organs. These are two primary lymphoid organs. This is secondary lymphoid organs, right? Mucosal associated. This is called mucosal associated lymphoid tissue. This is gut associated lymphoid tissue. Don't, what is this anta matte kelbedi, na matte helkodtini. Lymphoid tissue. Just as it is, you write like one summary. Written. Yeah, lymph nodes also come under this only. What is that? Lymph nodes also come under this. Yeah, you have to add that. You can add last one as after tonsil pairs patches, you write there lymphoid lymph nodes. Lymph nodes you write. Written. Write down. Immune system consists of various lymphoid organs, tissues, cells, and antibodies. Lymphoid organs are of two types. First one, primary lymphoid organs. Second one, secondary lymphoid organs. Primary lymphoid organs and secondary lymphoid organs. Last sentence have Rakshita. Lymphoid organs are divided into two types: primary lymphoid organs, secondary lymphoid organs. But you ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಯಾವುದು sentence ಗೊತ್ತಾಗಲಿಲ್ಲ ನನಗೆ. Rakshita. Which one last point I didn't understand? Where ಎಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ನಿಂತಿದೆಯಾ? From where you have stopped? Tell me. From where I want to give you, because last point ಎರಡು ಹೇಳಿದ್ದೀನಿ ನಾನು. ಯಾವುದು? Somebody write last point. Immune system consists of, oh, okay, lymphoid organs, tissues, cells, and antibodies. Good. Next, lymphoid organs are of two types: primary lymphoid organs and secondary lymphoid organs. Primary lymphoid organs and secondary lymphoid organs. First, write daddy, primary lymphoid organs. These include bone marrow and thymus, where the lymphocytes are produced, and matured. After maturation, the lymphocytes leave this part and move to the secondary lymphoid organs. Zara, you want me to repeat what? I repeat this. Primary lymphoid organs, they include bone marrow and thymus. In these organs, lymphocytes are produced and matured. Full stop. After maturation, they leave these parts. and migrate to secondary lymphoid organs. Migrate to secondary lymphoid organs. Right, Zara finished, done. Wrote. Next, write the heading, side heading, bone marrow. Bone marrow. It is the major lymphoid organ. It is the major lymphoid organ where all the blood cells including lymphocytes are produced. Including lymphocytes are produced. Including lymphocytes are produced. Next. In bone marrow, B lymphocytes get matured. In bone marrow, B lymphocytes get matured. Next word, thymus. Thymus. Thymus is the largest lobed organ present below the sternum. Lobed organ present below the sternum near the heart. Is the largest lobed organ present below the sternum near heart. At the time of birth, it will be very large. At the time of birth, it will be very large, but begins to reduce in size. Begins to reduce in size during growth. During growth. Next. At the age of puberty, it becomes very small. It becomes very small. And it helps in maturation of T lymphocytes. It becomes very small and helps in maturation of T lymphocytes. Next, secondary lymphoid organs. Secondary lymphoid organs. Right now, they include spleen, lymph nodes, tonsils, Peyer's patches, whatever I told, all the things right. Peyer's patches and appendix. And appendix. In these organs, the lymphocytes act against the antigens. In these organs, lymphocytes act against the antigens. First heading spleen. See the details what I give now, it is all neat portions. Okay, spleen. It's a large bean-shaped structure consisting of lymphocytes, phagocytes, and RBCs. Lymphocytes, phagocytes, and RBCs. I explain you. You want me to repeat from spleen? Nisarga, you want me to explain spleen? Okay, right on. Spleen, it is a large bean-shaped organ consisting of lymphocytes, phagocytes, and RBCs. It also helps in filtering blood. And trap the blood-borne microorganisms. Filtering blood and stops the blood-borne microorganisms. Then next, write lymph nodes. These are small solid structures located at specific sites throughout the lymphatic system. When antigens enter the lymph vessels, I repeat, Gauri, write down. These are small solid structures located at specific sites. I repeat, these are small solid structures located at specific sites along the lymphatic system. When antigen enters the lymph vessels, in these lymph nodes, lymphocytes become active and counteract the pathogens. Okay, just let me give you the diagram of that. You will understand how they will be, where they will be. And one more thing I add there. Lymph nodes are more concentrated in armpits, groin, and the vertebral column. Okay, so how are these present? Let me give you. See, imagine this is a human being. Okay, human being. Let me draw a small one. Okay, human being. Okay. Whenever you observe the body, mainly in this, all over the body, you will get a lymphatic system like this. It will run. But in the armpits, you get number of such lymph nodules. This is the armpit, right? Throughout the body, you will get it, right? Even in the groin area here you will get the lymphatic nodes having number of lymphatic system is throughout the body, right? But here they are more concentrated. Whenever you talk about the armpits, they are more concentrated here. Even in the groin, between the thighs, they are more concentrated. And also behind the backbones, if you observe the vertebral column, here they are more concentrated. Here they will be more concentrated. This is how lymphatic system runs throughout the body. Okay, it's not only here it is present, here it is not present. Ella kade irtade lymphatic system, but ಇಲ್ಲಿ concentrated nodes ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. Throughout you get such lymphatic nodes. In contact lymphatic nodes ಎಲ್ಲ ಕಡೆ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, but concentrate ಆಗಿರೋದು ಒಂದು groin ನಲ್ಲಿ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, armpits ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಆಮೇಲೆ vertebrae ನಲ್ಲಿ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. Okay, so these are the counteracting pathogens throughout the body. Okay. Ma'am, can you repeat? Ma'am, yesterday you said B lymphocytes mature in the bursa lymph. Correct. Lymphoid tissue. How do? Correct. What is the problem? Ivala secondary organs. I'll mature agi ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಬಂದು ಕೂತಿರ್ತದೆ. Are you getting, Gauri? See, they are maturing. ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆಯಾ? lymphocytes mature at thymus ಮತ್ತು B lymphocytes. Bursa lymphacus is in bone marrow mainly. Bursa lymphacus mainly bone marrow ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಆಮೇಲೆ mature at different mainly bursa lymphacus ಅಲ್ಲಿರುತ್ತೆ. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಬಂದು thymus ಅಲ್ಲಿ mature ಆಗೋದು T lymphocytes. Bone marrow ಅಥವಾ bursa lymphacus ಅಲ್ಲಿ mature ಆಗೋದು lymphoid tissue. They are the B lymphocytes. ಅರ್ಧ ಮ್ಯಾಚೂರ್ ಆಗಿರ್ತದೆ, ಬಂದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಕಂಟಿನ್ಯೂಯೇಷನ್ ಕೂತಿರ್ತವೆ ಎಲ್ಲ. ಬಂದ್ ಪ್ಯಾಥೋಜನ್ ಬಂದ ತಕ್ಷಣ ದೇ ಡೆವಲಪ್ ಎಬಿಲಿಟಿ ಟು ಐಡೆಂಟಿಫೈ ಅಂಡ್ ಪ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಆಂಟಿಬಾಡೀಸ್. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಮ್ಯಾಚುರೇಷನ್. ಆಯ್ತಾ? ಅರ್ಥ ಆಯ್ತಾ ಗೌರಿ? ಓಕೆ, ರೈಟ್. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್, mucosal associated lymphoid tissue, MALT. Underline, star mark, neat question. MALT ಸುಮಾರು ಸರ್ತಿ ಕೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಬರ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. Mucosal associated lymphoid tissue, MALT. This consists of lymphoid tissue that is located within the lining of respiratory tract, urinogenital tract, and digestive tract. It constitutes around 50% of lymphoid tissue in human body. Constitutes around 50% of lymphoid tissue in human body. Lymphoid tissue in the gut region, gut lining, is called GALT. It's called GALT, GALT. ಬರ್ದಾಯ್ತಾ? No one is saying anything. You finished, huh? Yes, Sanjit said yes. Okay, fine. Now listen. We will talk about the two important diseases. One is AIDS, second one is cancer. Two things, how do they multiply, how do they transmit, how do they show the symptoms, everything we are going to study. Two. One is AIDS, second one is cancer. Right? Once I finish that, almost this is done. Okay. So this chapter, whole thing will be there in the coming test for you. Remember. Okay. That's why I'm finishing all of this immunity. Okay. Got it? Okay. Listen. Okay. So what is actually AIDS? You all know it is acquired immunodeficiency syndrome. Right? This actually is a kind of self-immunity problem. Means your immune system is not functioning, due to which any type of pathogen can enter and multiply in your body. Right? Therefore, it is the one which develops after, it's an acquired one. 50% it comes from the parents. If at all anybody is having AIDS, it is caused by the HIV virus. It will transmit from blood. It transfers from the urinogenital system, mainly sexual intercourse. Then transfers through the exchange of blades and other things. Blood, normally blood, and will transfer through the genital fluids. Okay, and 50% is hereditary. 50% is hereditary. Yeah? If mother has it, child will get it. Right? It's true, 100%. Right? Now, before we enter into the details of that, I'll give you how exactly HIV will multiply. Other things you all know. How it will transmit, get avoid multiple sex partners. First thing I'll do is the life cycle of HIV virus. Human immunodeficiency virus, how its life cycle will continue and how it happens in our body. Okay. You must know that it attacks our what system? T lymphocytes. Okay, that's why it's more dangerous. Okay, let me give you. Okay. Coming to the HIV, the life cycle of multiplication of HIV. Okay, that is life cycle of human immunodeficiency virus, HIV virus, right? So normally it enters through any body fluids also. So this is one virus. It has RNA. Okay, this is HIV with RNA in it. This is the RNA of this. So when it enters the system, it will enter. First thing, this is our living system. It is entering. Okay, it enters into the cell. Imagine this is the first cell. We call this as the first one. It enters the macrophages. Macrophages. So macrophages, it has its own DNA, right? This virus injects its RNA. This is RNA. This RNA will convert to its double-stranded DNA through reverse transcription. So once this forms a double-stranded DNA, this will get associated with this. This is the macrophage. Now this macrophage will become like a factory for the production of HIV. So it will produce a large number of HIV. It works for this. Number of HIV will multiply inside this. So it acts like a factory for HIV. Okay. Now this HIV will come out having double-stranded DNA and attack now the T lymphocytes. Mainly the HT cells, helper T cells. Then this helper T cells has its DNA. It will go attack that and it will put its own DNA into this. This is a defective T lymphocyte. Now this cannot work against any pathogen. This is how it is going to multiply, right? So the macrophages act as a factories for HIV production because its main controlling system is taken by the virus, viral DNA. Now it will work for the production of all HIVs. So all these are the newly formed HIV viruses. They will come out and attack the T lymphocytes. T lymphocytes, DNA they will get associated and they will become defective T lymphocytes. Now this T lymphocyte cannot recognize a foreign antigen because it's defective now. Therefore, it will stop the production of antibodies also by the B lymphocytes. Therefore, the HIV is more dangerous because it will stop your immune system functioning. Did you get this? Understood this? This you will get the diagram, right? Write down this diagram. Write heading life cycle of HIV. Actually, normal in book you are given normal cell is not normal cell. It will attack the write down. Did you write this diagram? Finished, huh? No, very. This diagram will be asked. Life cycle of HIV. Keltara exam. Okay, no issues. I'll give time. 5 more minutes. Write it. Who is this Zoom one? Yeah, I mean yes, Andrena. Zoom one, yara. Some nonsense people are entering this. I don't know who is giving them number. Who is this? Yeah, I mean yes. Who is that? ನಿಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾರು ಹೇಳ್ತಿದ್ದೀರಾ ನಾನೇ ಹೇಳ್ತೇನೆ ಬಿಸಾಕ್ತಾ ಇರ್ತೀನಿ ಅಷ್ಟೇ ನಿಮ್ಮನ್ನ some nonsense people are entering. Written. Done. Okay, write down. When HIV end, ilva agilva inna. Okay, very. Gauri, very beg, bari. 2 more minutes I'll give. Okay, fine. It is 12:31, 32, 33. I'll give you 2 minutes. I'm waiting for them to finish. Okay, some of them they say 2 minutes. So I'm waiting for them to finish by 2 minutes. Gauri aita, Nisarga aita. Okay, right now. Once HIV enters the drawing ಇರಲಿ ಬೋರ್ಡ್ ಮೇಲೆ ನೋಡ್ತಾ ಇರಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಿಮಗೆ ಈಸಿ ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. When HIV enters body fluids of a person, it gets free entry into macrophages. It gets free entry into macrophages. Second point, within the macrophage, it injects its RNA. It injects its RNA. Next, viral RNA converts to double-stranded DNA, with the help of enzyme reverse transcriptase. Correct spelling ಬರ್ತಿದೆ reverse transcriptase ಅಂತ ಡ್ರಾಯಿಂಗ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕಾಣಿಸದೇ ಇದ್ರೆ ಮತ್ತೊಮ್ಮೆ ಬರೆಸ್ಬಿಡ್ತೀನಿ ಇಲ್ಲಿ. Reverse transcriptase. Reverse transcriptase. Okay. Next, this viral DNA gets incorporated into the genome of macrophage. The genome of the macrophage. And thus macrophage genome is now directed to produce all the components of virus. That is viral DNA multiplies into large numbers, comma, viral protein coat is produced by protein synthesis. Protein coat is produced by protein synthesis. Next, thus all the viral components assemble to form new virions of HIV. All the viral components assemble to form new virions of HIV. Therefore, macrophages act as the factories for production of virus HIV. Production of virus, viroids ಅಲ್ಲ virions. Viroids ಬೇರೆ, viroids ಹೇಳಿ ಕೇಳಿದಲ್ವಾ ಪ್ರಕೃತಿ ಫಸ್ಟ್ PUC ನಲ್ಲಿ Virions are only those who are having nucleic acid, no protein code. Virions and then virions are the children of virus. What you have written? Acts as the factory for the production of virions. Acts as what? Acts as the factories for production of HIV virus. Factories for production of HIV virus. Sudipta must be very happy sitting at home and writing, right? Capital HIV very big. Good. Sudipta, enjoy. It's advantage for you. Next. Once they're released from macrophages, next point. Once they're released from macrophages, they attack the T cells, attack the T cells or T lymphocytes. T lymphocytes. The bracket is HT cells. HT cells. This process continues. This process continues where most of the HT cells become defective HT cells. Defective HT cells. Next point. During this attack on HT cells, leads to the lack of immunity against any common diseases. Any common diseases. Next, right? Symptoms of AIDS. Symptoms of AIDS. The patient is more prone to viral and bacterial infections. Patient is more prone to viral and bacterial infections. Second one, the patient may also develop cancer tumors. Cancer tumors. Next point, damage in WBC results in unexplained fever. Unexplained andre yaak barte gotagalla. Unexplained fever, Unexplained loss of appetite. Unexplained loss of appetite. Repeat from where, Sanjay? I told you the destruction of HT cells result in reduction in WBC. I am repeating, comma, unexplained fever, comma, unexplained loss of appetite. Loss of appetite. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಹಸಿವಾಗದೆ ಯಾಕಂತ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ. Loss of appetite. Comma, unexplained loss of weight. ಇವು ಯಾಕಂತ ಯಾರಿಗೂ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗಲ್ಲ. ಒಟ್ಟಿನಲ್ಲಿ weight reduction ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇರ್ತದೆ. ಒಟ್ಟಿನಲ್ಲಿ you will have no food, feel for having food. Unexplained loss of weight. Next point, they suffer from chronic diarrhea. Chronic diarrhea andre ಏನು chronic diarrhea andre? They suffer from chronic diarrhea andre. Chronic andre anybody? Chronic diarrhea andre ಏನು ಗೊತ್ತಾ? Diarrhea ಗೊತ್ತು ತಾನೆ? Severe ಅಲ್ಲ chronic ಅಂದ್ರೆ. Diarrhea ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಲೂಸ್ ಮೋಷನ್ಸ್ ಗೊತ್ತಲ್ವಾ? Chronic ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಕಂಟಿನ್ಯೂಸ್ ಲಾಂಗ್ ಪೀರಿಯಡ್. ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಸಂಜನಾ, ಲಾಂಗ್ ಪೀರಿಯಡ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಒಂದಿನ 2 days ನಮಗೆ ಲೂಸ್ ಮೋಷನ್ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿದೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಒಂದಿನ 2 ದಿನಕ್ಕೆ ಶೂಷ ಆಗ್ಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ. ಹಂಗಲ್ಲ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಲೈಫ್ ಲಾಂಗ್ ಲೂಸ್ ಮೋಷನ್ಸ್. ದಟ್ಸ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಕ್ರಾನಿಕ್, ಲಾಸ್ಟ್ ಫಾರ್ ಲೈಫ್ ಟೈಮ್. ಗುಡ್ ರೀತಿಯ ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್. ಕ್ರಾನಿಕ್ ಡಯೇರಿಯಾ, ಕಾಮ ಕ್ರಾನಿಕ್ ಕಾಫ್. ಕಾಫ್ ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್. ರೀತಿಯ ಇಸ್ ರೈಟ್. ಕ್ರಾನಿಕ್ ಕಾಫ್. ನೈಟ್ ಸ್ವೆಟ್ಸ್. ನೈಟ್ಸ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ರಾತ್ರಿ ಫುಲ್ ಶೆಕೆಯಾಗಿ ಬೆವರು ಬಂದ್ಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ. ನೈಟ್ ಸ್ವೆಟ್ಸ್. And they get prone to tuberculosis. They get prone to tuberculosis. TB. They get prone to TB. Next, enlargement of lymph nodes. Add ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು. Lymph nodes enlarge ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಕ್ಯಾನ್ಸರ್ ವರ್ಗೂ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. Enlargement of lymph nodes. Next, right? Treatment. There is no specific treatment for AIDS. There is no specific treatment for AIDS. The drugs used to treat TB. The drugs used to treat TB are used for HIV also. Drugs like, I write it on the board, drugs like azithromycin and ribavirin. Azithromycin and ribavirin are giving promising results. are giving promising results. Another drug named Edu-Shrine is recently more helpful. Is recently Edu-Shrine, Ne, Edu-Shrine is more recently more azithromycin, Ne. Okay. Azithromycin and Edu-Shrine, ribavirin. Okay, more medicines ಕೊಡ್ತಾರೆ. Next, the victim suffering from AIDS may die within 3 years. May die within 3 years. But the medicines can prolong his lifetime. The medicines can prolong his lifetime. Okay. Now listen, there is a homework I am going to give you. What's the homework? You are going to study, write what are the ways it transmits, like sexually transmitting disease and blades and syringes, needles, all you will write. ನಾಳೆ ಬರುವಾಗ ಇದನ್ನು ಬರೆದಿರಬೇಕಂದ್ರೆ ಕಮಿಂಗ್ ವೀಕ್ ಗೆ ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಟೆಸ್ಟ್ ಇದೆ, ಅದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ಅದು ನೀವೇ ಓದ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ, ಬರೀರಿ. ಏನ್ ಬರೀತೀರಾ? The way of transmission of HIV and how to avoid transmission of HIV. ಇಷ್ಟು ಬರೀರಿ. Okay. Now I'll give you some short thing about the cancer. Okay. So you all know that cancer is sudden uncontrolled cell division. Okay. Cell division ಆಗಕ್ಕೆ ಶುರು ಆದ್ರೆ ಒಂದು ಡಿವಿಷನ್ ಆದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ನಿಂತ್ಕೊಂಡ್ಬಿಡುತ್ತದೆ, right? Normally there is a contact inhibition in our all body cells. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಒಂದು ಸೆಲ್ ಡಿವೈಡ್ ಆದಾಗ ಪಕ್ಕ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಸೆಲ್ ಇದ್ರೆ ಅದು ಮತ್ತೆ ಎನ್ಲಾರ್ಜ್ ಆಗಲ್ಲ. But the cancer cells do not have that contact inhibition. Test is there for AIDS also, cancer also. I give cancer also. AIDS ಮೇಲೆ ಇದೆ, cancer ಮೇಲೆ ಇದೆ. AIDS full ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೀನಿ ನಾನು. I explained you also. Points ನೀವು ಬರೀರಿ. ನಾನು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ಸರ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ಲೇನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ, ಅದು ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಕಂಪ್ಲೀಟ್ ಇಮ್ಯುನಿಟಿ ಮುಗಿಸ್ಬಿಡ್ತಿದ್ದೀನಿ ಈಗ. ಓಕೆ, ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಐ ವಾಂಟ್ ಯು ಟು ಬಿ ಪ್ರಿಪೇರ್ಡ್ ಫಾರ್ ಆಲ್ ದ ಟೆಸ್ಟ್. ಕಮಿಂಗ್ ಟೆಸ್ಟ್ ಗಳು ಮತ್ತೆ ಇದನ್ನೇ ಕೊಡ್ತೀನಿ ಡೀಟೇಲ್ ಆಗಿ. ಅರ್ಥ ಆಯ್ತಾ? ಓಕೆ ಗೌರಿ, ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟುಡ್? ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ನಾವು ಕಮಿಂಗ್ ಟು ದ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ಸರ್, ವಾಟ್ ಐ ಟೋಲ್ಡ್ ಯು, ಕ್ಯಾನ್ಸರ್ ಇಸ್ ಅ uncontrolled cell division, right? Cell division uncontrolled ಆಗಿಬಿಟ್ಟು will form a tumors. That's called cancer. The cancer is normally is of two types. The tumors formed are of two types. That I will write it and I'll explain you now only. Okay. Okay. So what is that cancer? So as I told you, it is a uncontrolled cell division. Cells will continuously multiply and the result in formation of tumors. And these cells will not undergo differentiation like other cells. They remain as it is, simply they form from mass of cells. So that's about the cancer I'm talking about. So cancer cells, cancer is nothing but uncontrolled cell division. Cell division. Normally, normal cells, if one cell is there, ಇದು ಡಿವೈಡ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಸೆಲ್ ಡಿವೈಡ್ಸ್ ಇಂಟು ಟು. ಈ ಸುತ್ತಮುತ್ತ ಈ ಸೆಲ್ಸ್ ಇರ್ತಾವಲ್ವಾ, ಈ ಸೆಲ್ಸ್ ಡಿವೈಡ್ ಆಗಿ ಇನ್ನೂ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಡಿವೈಡ್ ಆಗ್ಬಿಡಲ್ಲ. ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತದೆ, they stop the growth. This is called as contact inhibition. Contact inhibition ಅಂದ್ರೆ they inhibit when they come in contact with nearby cells. ಇಲ್ಲ ಸುತ್ತ ಸೆಲ್ಸ್ ಇರೋ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಇದನ್ನ ನಿಲ್ಲಿಸ್ಬಿಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಮತ್ತೆ ದೊಡ್ಡದಾಗಬಾರ್ದು ಅಂತ. But that they don't have. They keep on continuously multiplying. in skin cell ಇದೆ, ಒಳಗಡೆ ಮಲ್ಟಿಪ್ಲೈ ಆಗಿ ಒಂದು ಟ್ಯೂಮರ್ ತರ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಆಗಿಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ, ದೊಡ್ಡದು ಟ್ಯೂಮರ್ಸ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. So the tumors are of two types. First one is called as the benign tumors. Second is called the malignant tumors. Benign tumors are the local tumors. Localized tumors ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಒಂದು ಕಡೆ ಟ್ಯೂಮರ್ ಆಗಿದೆ ಅಲ್ಲೇ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಅದನ್ನ ಕಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಸರ್ಜರಿಯಿಂದ ರಿಮೂವ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಮತ್ತೆ ಸ್ಪ್ರೆಡ್ ಆಗಲ್ಲ. ಬಟ್ ಮ್ಯಾಲಿಗ್ನೆಂಟ್ ಟ್ಯೂಮರ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ದೇ ಸ್ಪ್ರೆಡಿಂಗ್ ಟ್ಯೂಮರ್, ದೇ ಸ್ಪ್ರೆಡ್. ಸಪೋಸ್ ಈ ಒಂದು ಏರಿಯಾನಲ್ಲಿ ಎಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲೋ ಟ್ರೇಕಿಯಾನಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಟ್ಯೂಮರ್ ಆಗಿದೆ ಅಂತ ತಿಳ್ಕೊಂಡು, ಬ್ರಾಂಕೈಯಲ್ಲಿ ಟ್ರೇಕಿಯಾನಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಟ್ಯೂಮರ್ ಆಗಿದೆ ಅಂತ ತಿಳ್ಕೊಂಡು, ಓಕೆ, ಈ ಟ್ಯೂಮರ್ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಆಚೆ ಇರ್ತದೆ, ಬಹಳ ಒಳಗಡೆ ಇರ್ತದೆ, ಡೀಪ್ ಇರ್ತದೆ ಅದು, ರೈಟ್? ಸೊ ದೆನ್ along with the blood vessels ಇರ್ತದಲ್ಲ, they leave the place. Okay, blood vessels ಅಲ್ಲಿ blood ಹೋಗೋ ಟೈಮ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಟ್ಯೂಮರ್ ಸೆಲ್ಸ್ ಒಳಗಡೆ ಹೋಗ್ಬಿಡ್ತದೆ. ಹೋಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು wherever the blood is transported in that area, they will bring that cell and implant. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಮತ್ತೆ ಮಲ್ಟಿಪ್ಲಿಕೇಶನ್ ಆಗ್ಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಇಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಮೈಗ್ರೇಟ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಹೋಗು. The infected area ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನೀವು ರಿಮೂವ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು ಈ ಸೆಲ್ಸ್ ಮೈಗ್ರೇಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಬ್ಲಡ್ ವೆಸಲ್ಸ್ ಇಂದ they will go to another area, they cause tumors here. This process we call the metastasis. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇಲ್ಲೊಂದು ಟ್ಯೂಮರ್ ಇರೋದು ಒಂದು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ದಿನ ನೋಡೋ ಅಷ್ಟೊತ್ತಿಗೆ ಇದು ಹೋಗಿ ಗಟ್ ನಲ್ಲಿ ಇಂಟೆಸ್ಟೈನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹಾಕಿ ಕೂತ್ಕೊಂಡ್ಬಿಡ್ತದೆ, ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಟ್ಯೂಮರ್ ಇಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಬಂದ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿರ್ತದೆ, ಅಥವಾ ಬ್ರೈನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬ್ರೈನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಟ್ಯೂಮರ್ಸ್ ಆಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿರ್ತದೆ. This is called as a metastasis. This is what is more problematic in cancer. It is not local. It is very rare case. Benign tumors ಆಗುತ್ತೆ initially, but ಸುಮಾರು ಕಡೆ it is malignant tumors ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. Malignant ಅಂದ್ರೆ the tumors will enlarge and they will leave the place of infection or affected area. They go to the healthy area and invade the healthy cells. That is why it will spread faster, right? Hagagi cancer is more problematic disease because you cannot localize it. Ellide anta kaanಸಲ್ಲ. Okay, now cancers are different types depending upon which area it is attacking, right? So first one, it is called as the sarcoma, lymphoma, carcinoma and leukemia. This is 4 ತರ, right? Sarcoma affects the muscles and another connective tissue. Lymphoma attacks the lymph nodes and lymph tissue. This attacks the muscles and other connective tissues. Carcinoma attacks the epithelial tissues. Leukemia is the blood cancer, where the WBC count will become more than 10,000 per cubic millimeter of blood. It's called leukemia. These are the types of cancer, right? So cancer, any type of cancer can be treated by 2 things. One is, so cancer treatment, we do it by chemotherapy. Certain chemicals we are going to add, like the drugs like mustard gas, and another thing is vincristine. You have heard about this. Vincristine from Vinca rosea, they selected from that. Or they will do radiation therapy. What they do is, suppose it is there in one area, they will first remove that tumor, and along with that some cells they will burn it off. These, wherever it is, the whole layer will be burnt completely by chemotherapy and radiation therapy, so that they are not going to spread so fast. But we can't help it if they are already transported to one place, from one place to another place. So in that area where it is identified, then they are going to remove that by burning or by certain chemicals. Okay, so this much is there coming in test, right? I'll try to see that 1 or 2 questions only are there on this. 1 question may be there, maybe on cancer, but all other things you learn it properly and come to this, because already you have written 1 test on the immunity, right? Now next thing, we are going to include the whole thing. Okay, earlier things you not study, whatever I am explaining you study them. Okay, fine then. So did you follow this? Radiotherapy, chemotherapy, you all learned, right? So little bit we discussed in first PhD also a bit. Autoimmune diseases we don't have right now. I will do that also. It's not completion. Again on Monday, I'll give whole notes for this, right? ಎಲ್ಲಾನು ಮುಗಿಸ್ಬಿಟ್ಟೇನೆ ಚಾಪ್ಟರ್ ಕಂಪ್ಲೀಟ್ ಮಾಡೋಣ. ಮತ್ತೆ ಕಮಿಂಗ್ ಟೆಸ್ಟ್ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಈ ಪೋರ್ಷನ್ಸ್ ಇಡ್ತೀನಿ, ಅರ್ಥ ಆಯ್ತಾ? ಈ ಕ್ವೆಶ್ಚನ್ಸ್ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಆಗ್ತೀನಿ, ಹಳೆ ಕ್ವೆಶ್ಚನ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗ್ತೀನಿ, ಅರ್ಥ ಆಯ್ತಾ? Old questions, whatever you have learned about the bacterial disease, viral disease, all that will be more. ಇದ್ರ ಕ್ವಶನ್ಸ್ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಕಮಿಂಗ್ ಟೆಸ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಈ ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗ್ತೀನಿ. ವಾಟ್ ವಿ ಡೂ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್, ನಾರ್ಕೋಟಿಕ್ ಡ್ರಗ್ಸ್ ಅಂದ್ವಿ, that will do more. Ma'am, note should be written only for HIV. ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ಕೊಡ್ತೀನಿ ನಾನು ನೋಟ್ಸ್, ಸುಮ್ಮನೆ ನಾನು ಏನ್ ಬರ್ತಿದ್ದಿಲ್ಲ ಬೋರ್ಡ್ ಮೇಲೆ ಅದಷ್ಟು ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ಸ್ ಬರ್ಕೊಂಬಿಡಿ ಅಷ್ಟೇ. ಓಕೆ, ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ಸ್ ಯು ಜಸ್ಟ್ ರೈಟ್ ಡೌನ್. ದೀಸ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ಸ್ ಬರ್ಕೊಂಬಿಡಿ. ಏನ್ ಬರ್ತೀರಾ, ಕ್ಯಾನ್ಸರ್ ಟ್ರೀಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದೀನಿ, ಟೈಪ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ಸರ್ ಹೇಳಿದೀನಿ, ಆಮೇಲೆ ಟ್ಯೂಮರ್ ಟೈಪ್ಸ್ ಹೇಳಿದೀನಿ, ಮೆಟಾಸ್ಟೈಸಿಸ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದೀನಿ, ಅವನಷ್ಟೇ ಬರ್ಕೊಂಬಿಡಿ ಆಸ್ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್. ನೋಟ್ಸ್ ನಾನು ಮತ್ತೆ ಕೊಡ್ತೀನಿ ಮಂಡೇ ಇಂದ. ಫೈನಾ? ಡ್ರಗ್ಸ್ ವಿ ಡೋಂಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಪ್ರಕೃತಿ. ಡ್ರಗ್ಸ್ ಇನ್ನ ನಾರ್ಕೋಟಿಕ್ ಡ್ರಗ್ಸ್ ಹೇಳಿಲ್ಲ, ಅದಿಲ್ಲ ನಿಮ್ ಚಾಪ್ಟರ್ ಇದು ಕಮಿಂಗ್ ಟೆಸ್ಟ್. ಮಸ್ಟರ್ಡ್ ಗ್ಯಾಸ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು ಅಂತಾನ ಸಂಜೆ? ಮಸ್ಟರ್ಡ್ ಗ್ಯಾಸ್ ಇಸ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ಒನ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಆಂಟಿ ಕಾರ್ಸಿನೋಜೆನಿಕ್ ಏಜೆಂಟ್, ನಾಟ್ ರೆಗ್ಯುಲರ್ ಮಸ್ಟರ್ಡ್, ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಡಿಫರೆಂಟ್. Ma'am, can you tell the drugs in chemotherapy? Drugs in chemotherapy you can write. I'll give that again. Don't worry about the drugs, they will not ask you much. Mustard gas I have written and vincristine I told you. Mustard gas ಹೇಳಿದೀನಿ, vincristine ಹೇಳಿದೀನಲ್ವಾ, ಸಾಕಷ್ಟು. ಮುಂದೆ ಹೇಳ್ತೇನೆ ನೋಟ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಡೀಟೇಲ್ ಆಗಿ. ಮೆಟಾಸ್ಟೈಸಿಸ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನಂತ ಗೊತ್ತಿರಬೇಕು. ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ದ ರಿಲೀಸ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಅಫೆಕ್ಟೆಡ್ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ಸರ್ ಸೆಲ್ಸ್ ಟು ದ ಹೆಲ್ದಿ ಏರಿಯಾಸ್. ರೇಡಿಯೇಷನ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಎಕ್ಸ್-ರೇಸ್, ಕಾಸ್ಮಿಕ್ ರೇಸ್, ಯುವಿ ರೇಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲಾನು ತಗೋತಾರೆ. ಅಂಡ್ ಟ್ರೀಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ದೇ ಗಿವ್ ಬೋತ್. About vincristine, vincristine is produced from the Vinca rosea plant. I told you. Vinca rosea is a family from Apocynaceae. That plant, namdalli gulabi pink color flowers irtalla, adu vincristine, and that will produce anti-cancer drug vincristine. That is pink ಮತ್ತೆ white flowers ಆಗ್ತದೆ, ಸಣ್ಣ family Apocynaceae. That is recently used. Mustard gas is commonly used. ಶ್ರೀಗೌರಿ ಸೈಟೋಟಾಕ್ಸಿಕ್ ಡ್ರಗ್ಸ್ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಆರ್ ಯೂಸ್. ಎಲ್ಲ ಗೊತ್ತಿದೆಯಲ್ಲ ಶ್ರೀಗೌರಿಗೆ, ನೀನೇ ಬರೆಯಮ್ಮ ನೋಟ್ಸ್ ನೋಡೋಣ. ಶ್ರೀಗೌರಿ ಬುಕ್ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡು ಕೂತಿದ್ಯಾ ಅಲ್ಲೇ? ಓಕೆ, ವಾಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಕೊಲೊನೋಸ್ಕೋಪಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ? ಕೊಲೊನೋಸ್ಕೋಪಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಈ ಕೊಲನ್ ಇರುತ್ತಲ್ಲ, ವಾಚಿಂಗ್ ದ ಕೊಲನ್ ಥ್ರೂ ದ ಮೈಕ್ರೋಸ್ಕೋಪ್. ಓಕೆ, ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಸಣ್ಣದೊಂದು ಈಗ ಎಂಡೋಸ್ಕೋಪಿ ಮಾಡೋ ಒಂದು ಕ್ಯಾಮೆರಾ ಹಾಕ್ತಾರೆ ಮೌತ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ, ಕೊಲೊನೋಸ್ಕೋಪಿಯಿಂದ NS ಇಂದ ಹಾಕ್ತಾರೆ, ಹಾಕ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ದೇ ವಿಲ್ ಸಿ ವಾಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಕೊಲನ್ ಸಫರಿಂಗ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ಅಂತ. ಅರ್ಥ ಆಯ್ತಾ ಲಕ್ಷ್ಮಿ? ಕೊಲೊನೋಸ್ಕೋಪಿ ಅರ್ಥ ಆಯ್ತಾ? ಓಕೆ, ಡನ್. ಫೈನಾ? ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಅರ್ಥ ಆಯ್ತಾ? ಓಕೆ, ಟೈಮ್ ಆಯ್ತು, ಪ್ರಿಪೇರ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. ಎಲ್ಲ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಓದ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ, ಹಳೇದೆಲ್ಲ ಗೊತ್ತಿದೆ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ. ಓಕೆ, ಸ್ಟಡಿ ವೆಲ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಡೂ ವೆಲ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಟೆಸ್ಟ್. ಟೆಸ್ಟ್ ಇಸ್ ದೇರ್ ಫಾರ್ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ಸರ್. ಟೆಸ್ಟ್ ಫಾರ್ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ಸರ್ ಅಂತಲ್ಲ, ಅದು ಏನಕ್ಕೆ ಹೇಳ್ತೀನಿ, they will take one small part and observe, biopsy ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. Okay, done then. See you. Bye.